This is TechVibe Radio. It's your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. TechVibe is brought to you by the generous support of Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, the Kindling Culture Agency at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, Savior at savior.com, and Studio Me at studiomeproductions.com. TechVibe proudly broadcasts from the Huntington Bank studios. Let's get the show on the road. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for getting up super early and hanging out with me, Jonathan Kirsting from the Pittsburgh Tech Council, for your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation ecosystem. So I have a question for you out there. What happens when your warehouse can't pivot, but your customers still expect like a next day delivery? Think about all the deliveries and stuff that we get. We expect it to happen, but you're going to find out today when that does happen, because sometimes things break at the distribution center at the warehouse. And today we're diving into a new market study from Lucas Systems that uncovers a growing problem hiding in plain sight. I'm talking about warehouse systems that simply cannot keep up with the pace of distribution. And today we have Ken Ramoutar, who's a CMO of Lucas Systems, joining us to break down what's really happening inside today's warehouses and distribution centers, and why the future belongs to what they call the dynamic warehouse. Ken, you're no stranger to TechVibe. I'm so excited to have you here today because I love talking about this logistics stuff.
Yeah, glad to be here, Jonathan. Glad to be back on the podcast.
I'm a big nerd, and I look at the types of stuff, the types of problems that Lucas Systems solves, and it literally it keeps society from becoming violent. Because if I don't get my package when I get it, I might light a torch and storm the town or something like that. So
yeah. Well, as you know, we've been around a long time in the industry. We just celebrated our 28th anniversary.
That's amazing.
We're a software company that has been born and bred in Western Pennsylvania. And we've been around. So, that commercial where he said, we know a thing or two because we've seen you. So we have,
seen a bunch.
Our
Absolutely.
software runs all around the world.
You're powering warehouses literally everywhere.
Different warehouses. And
I think if there was a warehouse in Antarctica, you might be in there as well, too.
Our customers are pretty distributed and do a lot of different kinds of things, different products, from parts to grocery to stuff in freezers to ice cream. They all run Lucas. And, that some people may know Lucas for the voice part of the technology was called Jennifer.
Yes.
Most people in the industry recognize Jennifer, but, we count how many picks Jennifer makes. And we're up to 115 billion picks that have been made with Jennifer. So every one of those orders.
That's so cool.
People don't realize it's technology like what Lucas has that makes a lot of that happen.
And not just technology, man. Technology that came out of Pittsburgh, for crying out loud, over the past 28 years, which is absolutely amazing. And I'm going to tell our listeners, if you go to lucasware.com, you've got tons of stuff on there, including links to the study that we're going to talk about, which I think is just fantastic. So Ken, let's start this thing simple. What does a bad day look like inside a warehouse that lacks agility?
Well, let me maybe answer that with what's going on in the distribution market in general.
Because they're probably having a lot of bad days, right?
Well, so most people have never really been in a modern day distribution centers. Like you said, Jonathan, you want your packages on time. You press the buy button, and the next thing you know,
shows up.
It's on your porch, and you're like, hey, this is great. How did all this happen?
Exactly.
Right. But one of the reasons we did the study was to try to really understand what's going on today, what's on the minds of supply chain executives. This study, we surveyed 115 different supply chain executives. We really just wanted to find out what's changed in terms of their thinking, as you said, their days. And we specifically asked about things like disruptions.
Yeah.
We asked about what's important to them when they're thinking about automation technologies and how's that changed, because that's important to us as a business that makes software for warehouses. And we learned some really interesting things. And back to your question about what does a bad day look like. So one of the things that we asked about was disruptions, right? So a bad day is a day when you have a lot of disruptions, or even a bad year.
Ooh.
And if you go back to COVID, right? Maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody understood what disruption meant, right? You weren't getting your goods, supply chain disruptions, no labor, and everybody thought, well, hey, that's COVID, but that's just a COVID thing.
But it hasn't changed much, right?
Well, that's where you get to the study, and if you
okay.
look at some of the data in this study, it's pretty interesting. We did this in partnership with a company called Wakefield Research, so one of the leading research companies out there. And we were really surprised around this notion of disruption. So here's some of the data. 85% of the respondents said they had over 10 significant and unplanned disruptions in the past year.
Wow.
And that means things like shutting down the warehouse,
yeah.
or systems don't work, or
yeah.
we can't get the orders out.
It's like once a month almost. There could be something of significance that's really hampering operations.
So a bad day looks like one of those days
Gotcha.
where you have that, and that could last for a few days. It could last for a few hours. But as I mentioned, warehouses are at they're kind of at the pressure point of the supply chain. People don't realize that, they're the guys who have to meet all those requirements that you want.
I guess everything kind of meets there,
right.
And that's where literally like the pressure happens, and if something goes wrong, that pressure just intensifies.
Well, you want stuff in a day or less. I mean, who'd have thought the grocery industry would be doing 2-hour delivery?
Oh, it's be down to an hour next year. Yeah, exactly.
You wouldn't have thought about it. And how prepared were they? So that everybody's scrambling. How do we do that? That's the new standard. You're getting one day from Amazon, sometimes same day. That from Walmart. That's the new standard. So
distribution centers are on the hot seat.
Distribution centers is a hot place right
and now we're seeing a lot of them are experiencing disruptions, and these disruptions have to be minimized at all costs. Yeah. And a lot of that comes down to being agile and being flexible, and also integrating the right technologies and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, you think about what causes disruptions. That's the first question. So you mentioned a few of them. So supply side disruptions. You don't get the product in. I mean, look what's going on around the world right now. Oh. There's going to be more supply chain disruptions.
Stop talking, Ken. Come on.
Right. Then you have labor issues, right? What happens when a whole bunch of people call off and you've got to get all these orders out the door? What are you going to do? What's the best way to minimize the pain from that? What happens when the government says, now you got to track a whole bunch of new things that you weren't tracking? Like, think about the food supply chain. It's getting much tighter on tracking from source all the way
to table, right? Yeah.
All that has to be done at the distribution center.
Oh my God.
Right. So all these things are coming in. The operators are going, oh my God, how do we manage all this change? And if you don't have systems, as you mentioned, agile, that you can change or self-change, meaning they recognize
and correct. And
yeah, so AI is going to have a big role in a lot of the future.
100%.
Because that change isn't going to stop. So that's one of the big issues that's causing disruption. It's all these changes, and unless you can predict the future, whatever you decide you need in technology today, it may not work for you in a year or 2 years, because you don't know what's going to come down the road.
Oh.
So that's what I think this agility theme is coming out to be, which is and I'll show you some data about what they think is important, but this agility theme and adaptability theme has now gone to the top.
I love it. And that's where I do believe that Lucas Systems really comes into play, because you have some solutions that are pretty amazing out there that I can't wait to talk more about. Also learn more about some key findings from this study, because I was pretty fascinated by this. And remind everyone, go to lucasware.com if you want to check it out. Great resource. You have all types of great information on there, not just about your products, but like the study and so forth. So please go there. And of course, after you do that, go to pghtech.org. Find out the ways the Tech Council loves helping you succeed with your business. And this has been Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Tech Council. And I'll be right back after this quick break, hanging out with Ken Ramoutar from Lucas Systems. Studio Me Productions is a full-service video production company based in Pittsburgh. It offers custom video production services, podcast studio rentals, and communication studio build-outs. Choosing Studio Me Productions means investing in a partnership that values creativity and delivers results that exceed expectations. With a deep understanding of marketing and storytelling, Studio Me ensures your project will captivate and engage your viewers. Learn more at studiomeproductions.com. That's studiomeproductions.com. A strong work culture is the invisible force that binds employees to each other, to the company, and to their work. It's linked to better business outcomes, happier employees, and increased retention. How we work and where we work continue to evolve in almost every way, yet our human need for connection and purpose remains. Help your employees connect and thrive by evolving your culture to support your team, regardless of how or where they work. So discover how the Kindling Culture Agency can transform your company's culture at sparkssomethingbig.com. That's the Kindling Culture Agency at sparkssomethingbig.com. Compunetics is the leading developer of unified voice, video, and data collaboration and conferencing applications for the service provider, government, and unique workflow applications. The Summit Olympus and Evergreen platforms, driven by their encrypted user interfaces, enable powerful and secure collaboration. Combined with world-class support and innovative professional services, Compunetics delivers the right solution every time. Learn more at compunetics.com. This is TechVibe Radio, your front row seat to Pittsburgh's technology and innovation economy. TechVibe is brought to you by Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, Kindling at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, and Savior at savior.com. TechVibe proudly broadcasts from the Huntington Bank studios. Oh my goodness, we are back from break. This is Jonathan Kirsting with the Pittsburgh Technology Council. It is my job, my duty to give you this front row seat to great, cool companies like Lucas Systems, hanging out with Ken Ramoutar here, who is the CMO there. And you guys, the study we've been talking about is really cool. Some of these findings, first off, I'm a little afraid for our distribution centers right now, Ken. It's like, oh my God, like these are the pressure points. Like so much of what we rely on is coming through these things. And one bad day can really throw them off. Yeah. And let's jump back into this, like some of the stats we were talking about. Where do you want to go with this?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think you're right. I mean, the state of distribution is that there's a lot of pressure, but there's a lot of companies who are also investing. You know,
that's what I want to hear.
A lot of technology now for distribution centers, not just what Lucas does, but all kinds, from robots to big sortation. Yeah. So there is just a growing industry around automation, automating warehouse. But there's a long way for distribution centers to go. When you look at some of the studies, 77% of them said at least half of their warehouse hardware and software systems are too rigid to respond to disruptions.
See, that's scary.
So they're already recognizing that even though they might have some automation in place, it's not enough.
Okay.
You know, 90%, think about the cost of that. 90% rigidity and automation increase their operational costs by up to 25%. 25% of an operational cost bump because your tech isn't adaptable. That's like millions of dollars for a typical distribution center. For a really big one, it could be hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh, absolutely.
So I think what we're learning from the study is that, one, executives realize that they need to have agile software and hardware.
That's what I wanted to ask you. At some point, they have to be realizing this. I mean, they might see this bad day or a series of bad days and realize that something's got to be improved here. And hopefully this study is like one little tap saying, let's improve these things. Yeah.
Well, I think it's also for us, Lucas, we want to, we're trying to always stay in touch with what's going on in the market and the recognition that adaptability. So when we did study, we asked them, what are things important to you in automation and tech when you choose?
Okay.
And you would have thought things like, well, the cost of it, what's the return on investment, how much improvement am I going to get?
And that's not it.
Well, it's not the top things anymore.
Really? Okay. What is top then?
Top things are, how well does it work with other systems that I have? Because everybody's putting in different technologies.
Okay.
Everybody's concerned that everything's going to work together well. But right up at the top is this notion of how adaptable and flexible is it? Because I don't know the future. And whatever I buy today, I better be able to change. So the supply chain executives recognize this issue. And I think it's got an impact for tech companies like us and others, in the Tech Council, which is when we build things Now, going forward, we have to think about how adaptable is it? How flexible? Does it self-optimize? Does it change? Does it recognize what's happened in the system and make adjustments? That's going to be the new currency for
100%.
software
That makes
automation.
sense. And how much of that is going to be driven by AI then?
I think more and more. No, I wouldn't say all of it.
Okay.
More and more of it. Like this notion of self-optimizing, that AI is very good at that. And so within the bounds of what AI can manage, I think it's going to get put into AI.
I hope it does, because I look at how AI makes my life easier doing simple things. I can only imagine when you're applying it towards like the complexities of a distribution center. Simple as that. Like that's, I get excited about that because I look at how technology can really solve these problems. Like I said, if a distribution center does not work, like people light their torches up, man. They go looking for people because they want their stuff. Simple as that. Very, very, very cool stuff. So I'm curious. So like, as you kind of came through, anything surprising come out of that study from you when you got the results back in and you're like, wow, this is really informing us?
Probably the biggest thing is how heavily weighted. Like usually you get studies and it's like, there's a certain percentage that feel this way.
Yeah.
And this one, it's like 70, 80, 90%
Okay.
respondents are all lining up behind this.
So you're getting big numbers that really show
usually
like
it's never that big. Like
okay.
90% of the people think this is a problem. 90% of the people think it's costing.
It wasn't like 33, 33, and 33.
Exactly.
You're like, which one is it?
Yeah. So this is a pretty pronounced finding, in my opinion, of where this industry is going. And frankly, I don't even think it's limited to distribution. I think this notion of adaptability and flexibility is going to be the new thing in terms of when people are looking at tech, because the world is really volatile and keeps being volatile, and you don't know how to make a good decision now for the next 5 to 10 years.
It's got to be paralyzing as like a decision maker within an organization. Like I'm going to bet all of this on something and like it could change in 18 months and then all of a sudden this investment isn't really going to pan out. Yeah. But so where I get excited though is I look at some of these issues that people face, and I look at a company like Lucas Systems and how you work with them through these things to help them optimize across all the different areas. So what's new and exciting over at Lucas these days? Like I said, first off, you blew my mind when you were saying 28 years.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like that's crazy.
Well, I mean, innovation is a big part of that 28 years.
Okay.
There's no company in our space that can survive if you don't continue to innovate. The world keeps changing. We have to keep changing. A couple of new things. We just recently announced some interesting tech around what's called pallet, both pallet building and pallet matching.
Yeah.
And I know I say pallet and people are like, oh, how exciting could a pallet be?
You're talking to the right guy today, Ken. I care. Let me know what's going on.
Well, this is back to you. When you go into a distribution center, you'll be amazed at the millions and millions of pallets that are going through a distribution center. And there's humans putting things on pallets.
Those are like the red blood cells, like inside the circulatory system of a distribution center. That's the lifeblood, literally. Yeah.
And most of it, there's just forklifts going down and people are building pallets. And pallets are not easy to build because, you might have some heavy stuff, some light stuff. You put the wrong things on top of each other. You end up, pallet gets delivered, it's crushed or it's deflated.
Don't put that load of marble on top of the eggs.
Exactly. So the workers inside they intuitively have to learn how to build good pallets. But still these days, there's still a really high cost of damage from bad pallet building.
Has to be. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like our studies say like 2% of pallets have problems. 2% out of millions and millions of pallets.
Well, that's a lot of money when you start stacking that up. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have software, and what it does is it takes all that guesswork out of building pallets.
That's cool.
Right? It helps workers sequence things. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to restack the pallets along the way because now they got some other stuff. It doesn't look right. It doesn't fall over toppling because it's got too much weight on the left side and it slides over in the truck. So pallet building, while it may not sound interesting, it's really interesting.
I think it sounds pretty cool, man. It's like solving a giant puzzle.
Yeah.
It's like a 3D puzzle.
And we're up for an award from a group called the MHI. They're the biggest association in material handling.
Cool.
And they had a lot of people submit things, including Lucas, and we're one of the finalists.
Really?
We'll know here in a few weeks if we win.
Well, I want you to report back if you guys are winners, man. That's pretty amazing. I'm assuming something like that. I mean, you're getting an award this is what they care about. It's handling materials, and you're doing it right.
Big guys.
That's super cool. Got about a minute or so left. Anything new and exciting you want to talk about?
One other thing that's we just announced. Yeah. It's a partnership with a company called Vecna Robotics.
Cool.
Vecna
I like
Robotics
that name,
makes robots for the distribution center, and Lucas Technology is going to be embedded in the Vecna Robotics. So this is going to be how humans talk to robots.
Nice.
They're going to use Jennifer.
Oh, how cool is that?
They're going to talk to the robot, and the robot's going to talk back, and then it's just going to be humans and robots working like all in the same warehouse.
That's
talking
pretty
to each
awesome.
other.
So you're going to adjust the voice of Jennifer? I'm thinking she needs more of a Vecna kind of voice.
No,
like the
Jennifer.
pallets are over there.
Jennifer is a
Very
well-known,
friendly.
great voice. People love Jennifer, and she's going to stay Jennifer.
Okay, I think it's probably a good idea. I'm just trying to give him a couple marketing ideas here. I do my best. Oh my goodness, Ken. I'm just so excited for you guys. That is very exciting news. How much fun talking about distribution centers this morning. Like seriously, like this is stuff I think is so
We
interesting.
think it's fun.
I think it's way fun. And I love the fact that it's a Pittsburgh company
Yeah.
that's solving these really tough problems.
Yeah, we do.
I'm not going to light a torch anytime soon and go after the crowd because my Amazon didn't come over next day. So these are important things. Like I said, society depends on our deliveries, Ken. Simple as that. Thanks for hanging out with me today. You are the best.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan.
Once again, in case you want to learn more about what's going on with Lucas Systems, go to lucasware.com. And after you do that, try out pghtech.org. You'll absolutely love it over there too, because we love helping tech companies succeed. And if you want, or if you're jonesing for a little more tech vibe and you're not listening to your radio, wherever you find your podcast, just download us right there. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your Sunday, everybody. And I'm going to see you next week, that's for sure. Thanks for geeking out with us on TechVibe Radio. Tune in next Sunday for more tech and innovation stories right here from Pittsburgh. Get TechVibe wherever you get your podcasts and never miss a show. TechVibe is brought to you by the generous support of Compunetics at compunetics.com, Chorus Call at choruscall.com, Highmark at highmark.com, Huntington Bank at huntington.com, the Kindling Culture Agency at thekindlingagency.com, PNC Bank at pnc.com, Savior at savior.com, and Studio Me at studiomeproductions.com. TechVibe proudly broadcasts from the Huntington Bank Studios.